Hi, and welcome to the evolution of experimental animation from children's entertainment to adult art form. Experimental filmmaking tests and pushes back the boundaries of filmmaking. This essay explores how experimental animation has evolved the genre of animation to convey deeper themes and reach new adult audiences in entirely novel ways. We begin with the history of animation in cinema, review the stigma towards animation as an art form, learn how animation went from a kid's medium to an art form, and highlight some of the specific films that demonstrate this cultural shift. Alright, now stop me if you've heard this one before. In 1937, Walt Disney released the first animated feature film, Snow. Okay, stop. This isn't actually true. While it is commonly believed that Snow White was the first animated feature, it wasn't. It was actually a film called El Apostol, an Argentinian silent animation that reportedly lasted over an hour. Another example of this is Steamboat Willie, often considered the first animation with sound, which was predated by 4 years by the Fleischer Brothers' Come Take a Trip in My Airship. In fact, many of the advances in animation that are often attributed to Disney were first used elsewhere. Animation and filmmaking has a long history. However, films such as these, produced by Disney and others, supported a perception of animation as a child-centered or light entertainment medium that persisted throughout much of the 20th century. Nevertheless, as independent and experimental animators explored more mature and complex subjects, experimental animation as an art form has transitioned from what was considered a medium exclusively for children to an art form that has capability to create mature stories that can explore concepts in a way that was once exclusive to live action and that is often more impactful than live action cinema. An example is It's Such a Beautiful Day by Don Hertzfeldt, which debuted to audiences in 2012 and exemplifies the cultural shift towards animation as an art form. It was a massive hit, touring through multiple film festivals and often being cited as one of the greatest animated films of all time. It is a collection of 3 different short films following the life of an ordinary man named Bill. The film shows Bill go through life as an unspecified disease slowly kills him, and it shows the breakdown of his psyche as his health gets progressively worse. It was and is an extremely experimental film in many aspects, including production, narrative, and art style, being drawn entirely by pencil on sheets of paper, shot on a 35mm rostrum animation stand, a camera built in the 1940s for animation. Thanks to this unique way of animating, Hertzfeldt was able to make and produce every optical effect in camera, leading to an art style still unique to today's animation. However, this type of animated film was still uncommon in 2012. To show my point, let us take a look at an Oscar-nominated animation from 2012, Wreck-It Ralph. This is a film that, at its core, is the polar opposite to something like It's Such a Beautiful Day. Following a theme of accepting yourself for who you are, it is packed with action and silly jokes, but merely hints at deeper themes and philosophies. By failing to commit to a single message or theme deeper than accept yourself, it is a film that purposefully avoids any kind of meaningful complexity, making sure to create a feel-good story without alienating any audience. Wreck-It Ralph is an entertaining film with solid and well-defined characters, funny jokes, and a genuine heart to it, but it is not a film that tries anything new or experimental. It sticks firmly to the defined precedent within animation, being that animation is a medium primarily for children. It occasionally hints at deeper themes so as not to alienate any adults or more likely parents watching, but staunchly refuses to go further than that. For comparison, first let's look at the opening of Wreck-It Ralph, followed by the opening of It's Such a Beautiful Day.
My name's Ralph, and I'm a bad guy. Let's see. I'm 9 feet tall, I weigh 643 pounds, got a little bit of a temper on me.
Hey, you moved my stump!
My passion bubbles very near the surface, I guess, not gonna lie. Anywho, what else? I'm a wrecker. I wreck things, professionally.
I'm gonna wreck it!
I mean, I'm very good at what I do, probably the best I know. The thing is, fixing is the name of the game. Literally, Fix It Felix Jr.
I can fix it!
So, yeah, naturally the guy with the name Fix It Felix is the good guy. He's nice enough as good guys go. Definitely fixes stuff really well. But if you've got a magic hammer from your father, how hard can it be? if he was a regular contractor, carpenter guy, I guarantee you would not be able to fix the damage that I do as quickly. And when Felix does a good job, he gets a medal. But are there medals for wrecking stuff really well? To that, I say, ha! And no, there aren't.
Cool, this animation is so real.
30 years I've been doing this, and I've seen a lot of other games come and go. Kind of sad. I think about all those guys from Asteroids. Ooh, gone. Centipede, who knows where that guy is, you know? Look, a steady arcade gig is nothing to sneeze at. I'm very lucky. It's just, I gotta say, it becomes kind of hard to love your job when no one seems to like you for doing it.
All clear. The arcade's closed.
On the way to the bus stop, Bill saw somebody he recognized walking towards him, but he couldn't remember his name. He began to think of things to say when they'd be close enough to acknowledge each other. As they drew nearer, their eyes locked, uncertain if the other was going to stop to talk. The person greeted Bill as Bill mixed up the phrases, "What's up?" with "How's it going?" Confused, the person blurted out, "Thanks," before he knew what he was saying. Words caught in Bill's throat and he replied, "Way." They did a sorta awkward half-turn, and then continued on, now confident that the other was not going to stop to talk. They never saw each other again, and a day later had each forgotten the whole thing. Later that night, Bill sat down and put on a big sweater, but it only made him sleepy. In the supermarket, Bill was always very careful to select fruit from only the back of the produce piles, as the fruit in the front was at crotch level to the other customers. An old man who smelled of gasoline held up an onion and said, "Big onion," to no one in particular. He smiled at Bill, and Bill looked at his socks. At the checkout counter, Bill found himself behind a big guy whose t-shirt read, "Second place is the first loser." The checkout girl said, "How are you doing today?" Bill said, "Fine, thanks. How are you?" She didn't answer. Bill felt used. As he waited for his next bus, Bill stared at a torn shopping bag that was blowing in the wind on the end of a broken pole and anxiously sucked blood out of a sore in the corner of his mouth.
Both are extremely effective setups of the movie to come, conveying genre and tone extremely well. However, Wreck-It Ralph is simplified, explaining the meaning and themes to the audience directly to not allow any confusion on what the film is about. It's Such a Beautiful Day takes a much slower, more methodical approach compared to Wreck-It Ralph, allowing its art, writing, and music to convey what the viewer should be feeling. Comparing It's Such a Beautiful Day and Wreck-It Ralph highlights the divide between experimental and mainstream animation, revealing how each reflects a different set of cultural and industrial priorities. Hertzfeld's film embraces ambiguity and abstraction, using minimalism to explore existential and psychological themes rarely addressed in commercial animation. In contrast, Wreck-It Ralph prioritizes accessibility, clarity, and emotional reassurance, qualities that ensure wide market appeal but limit thematic risk. This comparison illustrates what Ji and Liao describe as animation's gradual redefinition from a child-centered genre to a mature art form. And as Tomos Mitkis notes, independent animators often challenge creative and ideological constraints imposed by major studios, seeking new ways to express adult experiences through the animated medium. Together, these examples show how the evolution of experimental animation not only expands the aesthetic boundaries of film, but also questions long-held cultural assumptions about what animation is and who it is for. In conclusion, the evolution of experimental animation demonstrates how the medium has grown beyond its early reputation as light-hearted entertainment for children to become a powerful form of artistic and emotional expression. From the overlooked innovations of early filmmakers to the creative risks taken by modern animators like Don Hertzfeld, animation has continually pushed the limits of storytelling and visual language. The contrast between It's Such a Beautiful Day and Wreck-It Ralph reveal the tension between commercial safety and artistic experimentation, showing how independent animators challenge the conventions of mainstream cinema. This ongoing shift matters because it expands what audiences expect from animation and what filmmakers can achieve through it. As animation continues to mature, it stands as proof that the boundaries between art, entertainment, and experimentation are far more fluid than once believed. Thank you.
It's such a beautiful day.